Welcome, Pewter Report readers, listeners, and viewers to another edition of the Pewter Report podcast, energized by Celsius. This is a post-game edition of the Pewter Report podcast, energized by our good friends over at Celsius. Of course, I'm John Ledyard from pewterreport.com. Along with me tonight is Scott Reynolds, also from pewterreport.com. We are here, sadly, mournfully, to say that the Bucs have finally lost a football game again, Scott. Finally. Weren't sure it was going to happen again, but it did happen despite the fact I was in Tampa Bay for this.
Yeah, that's true. I was going to say it's been a minute, but it's actually been months, John. It's been since last November that the Buccaneers have lost. So yeah, this is foreign territory for us here on the Pewter Report podcast. We're not used to this. There's not going to be a Victory Monday for the first time in like 11 months, just about. Mm-hmm. So it's a new phenomenon, but you can't win them all. And neither one of us predicted that the Bucs are going to go 17-0 this year. It's foolish to do so. Listen, there's 17 games. I don't care that they're defending Super Bowl champions. I originally picked them to lose in my SR's Fab 5 way back when. I said they'd go 13-4. I did say they would win this game because I was going to pick them until they lost, just because they've got momentum. But John, you called it. Unfortunately, this was a loss, and I think they can bounce back next week. But first, we got to digest this game in this loss. And speaking of digestion, John, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the tastiest protein bars on the market by our friends at Celsius. Fast brand. They've got two delicious flavors that will provide you with 20 grams of protein, only 2 grams of sugar. We're talking about the salted caramel peanut crunch, and I'm also talking about the white chocolate cookies and cream. Now, the best part about these, John, is these are on sale, 20% off on Amazon. You can get a shipment of either one of these or both. I recommend both because they're both amazing flavored protein bars for 20% off. You can click the link below, and that will take you right to Amazon, and it's got a 20% off promo through September 30th. So tremendously tasty protein bars. The Bucs could have used more
bar
protein.
I've ever had.
They could have used more protein. They could have used more energy. They could have used some Celsius. They could have used better coaching. They could have used better performance. It was not a pretty sight out in LA on either side of the ball.
Yeah, for sure. Jordan says John can't hide that smirk knowing you got his pick right. I know Jordan's probably kidding, but also I feel like the chat may underestimate the fact that we all live and die a little bit with Bucs game results. Yeah. And I think I am, despite being new to the area, no exception to that. Definitely not happy to be right about that, and frustrated with a lot of things in this game, Scott, because I think the Bucs are one of the few teams that are right there with the Rams. Like when the Rams were playing their best ball, and the Rams were playing their best ball today. Like the Rams didn't beat themselves really much at all. Maybe the first two drives a little bit, but they really were. I mean, this could have been worse on the scoreboard, actually, to be honest. I do feel like Stafford missed Deshaun Jackson earlier in the game, and he had an opportunity to hit him for a touchdown. I thought Sean McVay completely outclassed Todd Bowles, and that's where this evaluation starts to me, Scott. We say after losses, we start with the bad, we'll move to the good, and the good wins the other way around.
Todd Bowles under the bus. I get it. Now, here's the
thing. Not under the
though.
bus, but I would say this about Todd Bowles defensively. I would say that if you're going to go out in this game, you're going to play more man coverage, and you lose a corner back like Jamel Dean, and you are playing D. Delaney and Ross Cockrell, and Cockrell is against Cooper Kupp, and D. Delaney is against Cooper Kupp in a lot of these man coverage situations without help. That's bad coaching to me. Like that's where, was it all on him? Absolutely not. We'll talk about the players too. But I do think schematically his inability to kind of change from what he wanted to do when he had worse personnel was not helpful to the group.
Here's the thing, John. I'm not letting Todd Bowles off the hook. This is not a Todd Bowles loss, and I'll tell you why. This is on the front four not winning their one-on-ones. They got completely manhandled across the board. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka was probably their best pass rusher today. He's a rookie that's still figuring the game out. He got close a couple times, but close doesn't count when you're talking about Matt Stafford. Shaq Barrett was eaten alive by what's the guy's name?
Rob Havenstein.
Thank you, Rob Havenstein. Yes, I was having an old man brain fart, and there was nowhere to be found. Okay, and Vita Vea, very high on Vita Vea, but you got to do more than just try to push the guard back into the quarterback. It doesn't always work. I'm just saying it's like I'd like to see some other type of maneuvers from Vita Vea rather than just the bull rush, because he got doubled at times. And
he doesn't have another move.
I know that's part of the
problem. You're right. He was not super effective today. He got a guard that was up more in his weight class, and that was made it harder for him. Joe Tryon-Shoyinka was extremely impactful the first couple series, and actually the Rams changed what they were doing. They started chipping him all game long to make life really hard for him, and you've already got one of the best left tackles in the league. He dusted Andrew Whitworth twice in the first couple drives of the game. He was impactful. Your rookie starting his first NFL game can't be better than Sue and Vea and Barrett all put together. Than
your franchise outside linebacker, and that's Shaq Barrett, who has 1 sack in 3 games now. Matter of fact, the Bucs have 3 sacks. They got a kind of a garbage sack by Will Golston. John, they had 11 sacks at this point in time last year. 11.
It's bad.
3. Okay, the pass rush. And you know what? I asked Bruce Arians last week on the conference call, last Monday. I said, is your defensive front wing enough one-on-ones? And he said, yeah, we're getting pressure. John, I knew they weren't then, and I know it for a fact now. Whether it's Ndamukong Suh, Vita Vea, Shaq Barrett, Jason Pierre-Paul didn't play today, Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, they're not winning their one-on-ones. There were too many times where they were absolutely stoned at the line of scrimmage by this Rams offensive line. So that's why I'm saying it's not on Todd Bowles. This is not all on Bowles. When you lose Jamel Dean, I don't know what he can do with Ross Cockrell and D. Delaney. I just don't. I'm sorry. That you're getting out-talented at that point in time. Cooper Kupp is better than both those guys. Van Jefferson is better than both those guys. Robert Woods is better than both those guys. Deshaun Jackson's better than both those guys. So what is Todd Bowles going to do with Ross Cockrell and D. Delaney? If the front four can't get home and you blitz, then you're putting those guys in man coverage and you're exposing them. So I don't know what you do.
He did expose them for most of the first half, and obviously those results were ugly. But that's why I said that on the game show too. Like, yes, I don't think that was smart by Bowles, but would they have been better if they didn't do it? I don't know, because they couldn't get home with 4 either. So it was, there. Like I said, plenty of blame to go around, no question about it. We can't get away from this fact, though, Scott. This is 3 matchups between Bowles' defense and Sean McVay's Rams, and it has been overwhelmingly won by McVay, despite 6 turnovers by Jared Goff over the first 2 meetings. Despite that, this is a team that, adding to it now, 413 yards go back 2 years, 518 yards, 40 points. Go back last year, 413 yards, 27 points. This year, 400, despite not even really trying in the fourth quarter, 407 yards and 34 points. They could have been worse today. Honestly, they got lucky. They got lucky last time. I felt like it is not a competition right now when those two coach. The Bucs are going to have to eventually figure that out for sure. The bigger question may be, Scott, what happens at corner now? Jamel Dean hurt on, was it the second drive of the game? Early in the game, knocked out, was out for the rest of the game, already losing Sean Murphy-Bunting for probably several more weeks at the very least, possibly more, possibly most of the regular season. What happens at corner now? Is this guy Richard Sherman?
Richard Sherman time. I think he might be. The thing is what Bruce Arians said after the game in his post-game press conference is like, well, we already brought in two corners. We brought in Pierre Desir, we brought in Robinson, and I think both of those guys are okay to have on your team, but they're not ready yet, obviously, because you're playing D. Delaney and Ross Cockrell instead. Could they bring in Richard Sherman? I think they're going to have to. If Jamel Dean's injury takes him out for 2 weeks or more, I think that you're going to have to do that. I think the Bucs get a little bit of a reprieve in the fact they play Mac Jones next week. The Patriots passing game does not look solid or sound anywhere close to what they played the last couple weeks with Matt Ryan at quarterback. I should say the past 3 weeks. Dak Prescott, Matt Ryan, Matthew Stafford. They played 3 really good quarterbacks. They should catch a breather against the Patriots. But you know that Josh McDaniels and Bill Belichick are going to try to duplicate some of the problems that the Bucs defense has been exposed to and not handled very well. So it's not like next week's going to be a gimme or a layup. They should beat them because the Bucs are way more talented than the Patriots. What we saw today was 2 evenly matched teams in terms of talent, and the Bucs got beaten to a man in the trenches. The Bucs couldn't run the ball. The pass protection was okay in the fact that Brady didn't get sacked a whole bunch. But, John, how many times did we see him have to dump the ball off quickly because of pressure? And not just that, but also wasn't able to step into some of those throws. And as a result, you saw some of those completions down the field that weren't connected with Rob Gronkowski, who did not have a good game. Mike Evans, there was a couple passes that were short hop to him just because he had a Rams defender right in his face.
Yeah, definitely. There were some issues with that. I think especially late in the game when the Bucs became predictable with passing, I think that was where it really got away. I honestly don't have a huge issue with the offensive line's performance in this game. I think, the one sack was Gronkowski matched. It was just a bad matchup, to be honest, like more than anything. That was a protection issue. I don't know if I'm not going to say it was a coaching issue. I need to look at the tape, and it could have been a Brady issue. I don't know, but I just feel like that was a kind of a schematic issue, not a player issue, really. And then the other sack was, I thought Giovanni Bernard stepped in, handled it. Brady maybe held the ball a second long, but Giovanni Bernard got face masked. I mean, Kenny Young grabs his face mask and pulls it, and that's when Bernard kind of fell off that block. So I didn't have huge issues. Once it became predictable, yes, Aaron Donald, Leonard Floyd, the games they run up front, the blitzes, you're probably going to lose some one-on-ones once you're passing every down and dropping back. Still felt like, obviously Brady had a very, very good game. We'll get that later, but I wasn't really as concerned with the O-line per se. I think especially Tristan Wirfs played well. Again, I'll have to go back, look at it when you're doing the play-by-play. You're focused on other areas.
John, when we're talking about 35 yards rushing, Tom Brady's your leading rusher, 14 carries, 1 touchdown. 14 yards on 3 carries, 1 touchdown.
Well, now you're into the real problems.
When he's your leading rusher, that's a problem. It's not like the Buccaneers. We've talked about it for weeks going back to last year. This is a pass-first team. The Bucs don't need to have a 100-yard rusher every week. They don't need to even rush for 100 yards every week. But you can rush for 35, because what that does is when Ronald Jones has 11 yards on 5 carries, when Leonard Fournette has 8 yards on 4 carries, and I don't understand Bruce Arians' understanding of the run game when he says, Ronald Jones ran really well when he was in there. I mean, we're talking, 2 yards a carry?
What is that, Scott?
Are you kidding me? 11 yards on 5 carries. That is not good under any circumstance at any level of football. Okay,
I am
I like Bruce Arians. I appreciate his knowledge. He knows way more football than I'll ever know. He's forgotten more football than I know. I'll concede that. But coach, 11 yards on 5 carries is not good by any measure. Okay, so the problem is, John, when you're averaging 1 or 2 yards per carry, you're in 2nd and 8, 3rd and 8 situations, predictable pass rushing situations for the Rams. And yes, the Bucs offensive line, again, it wasn't like Brady was killed in this game. It wasn't like Brady was running for his life the entire game, but he did have to scramble. He did get sacked a couple times, and he just wasn't as comfortable in the pocket. And some of those routes didn't have time to develop. Remember, what Bruce Arians wants to do is attack down the field. Okay, with 3rd and 8, you need to attack down the field, because your inability to run the ball on 1st and 2nd down. And then you're putting your quarterback in predictable pass rush situations, predictable coverage situations, and it's just not good.
Right.
If we go to the statistics here, 41 of 55 for Brady, 432 yards. He did have a passing touchdown, a rushing touchdown. Chris Godwin, 6 catches, 74 yards, a rushing touchdown. Mike Evans, 8 catches, 106. A lot of this is just playing catch-up football in kind of garbage time in the second half when the game was, you're down 17 points. I thought that Tyler Johnson.
Kind of, but I mean, Brady had 300 yards, over 300 yards when this was still a game, too. I mean, I thought Brady played outstanding, and offensive weapons played well, too. I mean, Gronk let a couple opportunities go by. You made the drop on the first 3rd down, or that 3rd down conversion. That could have been a game-changing play, obviously. And then I felt like in the second half, Brady threw to the end zone and an out to Gronk, and he clearly jumps early and should have taken another step and caught the ball in stride. Would have been a touchdown, I believe. Very unusual to see him miss a play like that. And then later in the game, the vertical ball, he clearly slows up when he should keep running. He was interfered with for sure, and maybe he's trying to draw the call, but I feel like you've got to run through contact and finish there. I mean, I think Brady was off target on like 4 passes today, like genuinely, like off target.
I've got no issue with Brady. And Giovanni Bernard came in, 9 catches, 51 yards, and a touchdown catch.
He was terrific, Scott.
He was.
I know we're moving to positives here quickly.
He's the best running back on this team.
Why can't he run the ball? Like, he's played 9 years. Like, this guy knows how to run the football. I don't understand. Why can't he get a carry? Like, what are you seeing from Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones that make you that convinced that Giovanni Bernard cannot be on their level as a running back? It just blows my mind.
I don't have the answer, John, but maybe Matt Battered does.
I might. John, what do we the other day on the podcast, what did we put the over-under on actual rushing attempts that Giovanni Bernard would get? I think we said 2.5, maybe.
2.5, 2.5.
I really thought he was great, though. I mean, when the game was still in hand, you go back to the first half, that play where it was 3rd and long, and Bernard ball, he was like 7 yards short of the first down, and he went and he dove, and he stretched the ball, passed the marker, got that first down to move the sticks for the team. I mean, that was just an incredible effort right there. The other play didn't count, but when Brady fumbled that ball and Bernard caught it and it went for the first down, that was insane. But, this was the Giovanni Bernard that we wanted to see. And we finally got that today. And hopefully he's healthy. He obviously had that knee injury at the end when he scored the touchdown. But if he can stay healthy, I know the Bucs overall struggled today, but I'm not worried about that offense. He will be a huge factor for this team if they decide to use him the way that they just did.
Bruce has got to play him more. And for whatever reason,
absolutely.
Sometimes Bruce gets so stubborn, right? And locked on to certain players. And it's like there should be enough evidence from this game tape that suggests that Giovanni Bernard is the more productive running back over than Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones.
Absolutely, Scott. Giovanni Bernard, absolutely, without question, was the best running back on the field for the Bucs today. And Leonard Fournette, he may have cashed out with over the receiving yards. Shout out to me again for making that call. But I was getting so frustrated just yelling at the TV when they were running the ball with him. He keeps dancing around like he's on Dancing with the Stars. Hit the hole and move up the field. What are you doing? Stop dancing. Keep going forward.
Get after him, coach.
I was getting so mad about that.
One of the most underrated plays in this game, I thought, obviously the Bucs end up losing, so maybe people don't see it that way, but when Giovanni Bernard had the little shovel pass near the goal line, that play was dead to rights, like a loss,
right?
And he turned it into a 3-yard gain by being elusive and gave them the 3rd and 2 or the 3rd and goal at the 2 rather than at the 5 or 6.
John, how about his football awareness during the sack fumble, Aaron Donald to catch the ball and actually get upfield with it?
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's like he didn't have the ability to pick up yards because it was a fumble, right? So it came back to the spot. That play, the screen pass on, I believe, 2nd and 20 to pick up 25 yards. I mean, he has more burst, more acceleration than either Ronald Jones or Leonard Fournette. When there was a huge hole.
This isn't like Keyshawn Vaughn, like flashes. Maybe he can run the ball. Maybe he's an okay player. Maybe we should play him more. You've already, who he is. Like, you've already seen him play more.
The track record is there.
You're right, man.
It's not like he's a mystery. I'm truly at a loss on that one. That's, to be honest, if you're asking me issues with the offense, I don't have a lot long term. Like, I think they need to execute some things a little bit better. Drops are still an issue. They're just probably going to be with this team. Like, we get it. Like, but they overcame some penalties, honestly, to convert some drives after penalties, which was a really encouraging side. I thought Brady, against a defense that they struggled against last year, now twice they've seen a lot of those types of coverages, and he's carved them. I mean, he's seeing the middle of the field. He's throwing tight windows. He's throwing with anticipation. He's throwing down the field. Like, he's aggressive, but he's patient when he needs to be. He got ducked out of 2 sacks today.
Yes,
he throws on the run. Like, I just thought he was fantastic. Like, without him, they lose this game brutally bad. I mean, when your coach, and I think the offensive play calling was great too. They went away from the run early on, recognized it wasn't working, recognized it's going to be track meet, got aggressive, threw a ton on first down, didn't execute all the time when they should have finished in the red zone for sure. That was disappointing.
That's the big problem, isn't it, John? They just the red zone, getting field goals instead of touchdowns.
But that was their first miss in the red zone all year. So it's like, well, you're always going to have some regression to the mean there eventually. To go 2 or 3 in that area in this, or 3 or 4 in this area. I mean, again, it's not quite enough to win on offense, in my opinion. Defense wasn't even close. Like, should have been more than 34 points, in my opinion. If the Rams had hit plays on the first 2 drives of the game, they should have hit. So very few bright spots for me defensively. But at what point do we all want to just talk about Devin White? Like, what point is that going to happen? Like, when are we going to be okay with the fact that this guy was called the best linebacker in the NFL by a survey from ESPN of front offices and coaches around the league and players? He was the best dude in the NFL, they said, at linebacker. I mean, that looks laughable right now. He is
sacks,
a straight-up liability.
Splash plays.
On the 40-yard catch and run by Deshaun Jackson against Carlton Davis, Devin White knocks Carlton Davis off the play. That should not be allotted to Carlton Davis in coverage. He was fine off the line of scrimmage. Last week, he takes out Levante David on the catch and run. That's what I was going to say,
John. Yeah. Great point right there, reckless. John. He's
out of control.
Out Levante David last week, and then, as you just said, it happened this week too. I think a problem too for Devin White is, one of his best traits is how he's so fast and he'll get after the ball carrier in run plays. Teams just refuse to run the ball against the Bucs now, and understandably so. They stop the run so easily. I almost forget, like, you're allowed to run the ball against the Bucs defense. Teams just don't do it. And his weakness is not for a lack of effort, but his weakness is pass coverage. And we thought he got better at it in training camp, but training camp's one thing, in game is another, and we just really haven't seen the translation there. It's definitely a cause for concern what's going on with Devin White.
Here's the thing, Scott, they can't. What they're going to do is Todd Bowles won't take him off the field. He won't. He doesn't take Devin White or Levante David off the field. When you don't take a guy off the field who is that big of a liability in pass coverage, everybody's going to attack him. You saw it on the Cooper Kupp catch at the end of the game where Kupp did go out of bounds short of the marker. That was his mistake. But it's just easy. You isolate the matchup. You find your guy. If you won't take him off the field, you're going to leave him exposed and he can't play.
John, from Douglas, is Devin White playing poorly or are teams just scheming around him? And he agrees with us. He seems to be very mediocre right now. So is it a thing where offensive coordinators know how to attack the guy, or is he just not playing well?
Because he's bad in coverage. Absolutely, that's part of it. The other thing is a lot of times it's just routine stuff, but he misses tackles. He overruns guys for tackles a lot of the time. And lately, that's 2 weeks in a row where he's taken one of his own guys out and allowed a 30-plus yard reception and a 40-plus yard reception. Because he's literally he's too out of control. That's his biggest concern. It isn't a physical or an athletic liability or a mental. He just plays too out of control. He's reckless. He gets out of position because of it. He overruns tackles. He runs into his own guys. He just is out of control. And he overruns sacks like we saw last week. And when he hits a guy perfect, it's great, but it hasn't happened really this season. He's been extremely low impact. We have not gotten a chance to talk to him. I think he's frustrated.
Speaking of impact and lack thereof, Antoine Winfield Jr. started last year with the bang. 2 sacks and a forced fumble in his first 3 games. You remember the big splash play he had at the Giants game, breaking up a 2-point conversion. In the postseason, he had the big forced fumble in New Orleans that allowed Devin White to pick that up, and that was a big turnover in the game. He had an interception in the Super Bowl. Antoine Winfield is a very splashy player who has made 0 splash plays through the first 3 games of the season.
I agree with that a lot. And I don't feel like I do about Devin White about Antoine Winfield, to be clear. Like I think Devin White, like we're getting into like, is he a liability in a big part of the game right now, type of territory. Antoine Winfield is not. I mean, he is clearly a safety net and he keps things in front of him. He doesn't allow big plays.
He's playing sound football, but not splashy.
Right. He's not making the impact that Todd Bowles said. You super smart. You need to learn to anticipate things, take your chances, take chances on the ball, make more plays. Those are things he didn't do enough of last season, to be honest. Even outside, I know there were a couple moments, and you're right about that, but he didn't have a lot of turnovers or force a lot of turnovers, and I just think he'd be a lot more impactful than he's being. So it's like the floor with Winfield is pretty high, but what's the ceiling, and can we see him get closer to it? Like that's where I'm at with him right now.
Yep, I agree. And the thing is I think on the defensive side of the ball, let's flip it around and say, who is playing really well right now? Through 3 games, who is playing really, really well? Is there any
Levante David?
Vita Vea, for sure.
Okay. I don't think Vea played great per se, but he's definitely had a great season. He's abused the first 2 weeks of the season have to count. He was great.
Okay, so I'm saying look at all 3 games and who is playing really, really well. We're talking about Levante. We're talking about Vita Vea.
And
I think Carlton Davis solid.
Three. Yes. I agree. That's 3 guys out of 11 players on defense in 3 games that have played really well in a 3-game stretch. And we've seen, listen, Mike Edwards was the star of the show last week. This week, he fell down in coverage.
Touchdown. Yep.
Yeah, fell down in coverage on the Deshaun touchdown.
And Bruce Arians actually addressed that play after, by the way. I don't know if you guys got to hear the presser, but Arians actually in miscommunication. Carlton thought they were playing one coverage. Edwards thought they were playing a different coverage. Yeah. Edwards realized that Davis wasn't playing the coverage he was, and then fell down trying to recover, but it started with the communication error, I think, between the two of them.
Yeah.
So, I would say that I do think, like somebody mentioned Will Golston, but again, he's a role player kind of. So, he's played well, but he's a role player. Shaq Barrett did play pretty well the first 2 weeks of the season. Today, I thought he was totally invisible. I didn't notice him at all. I'll rewatch, and I'll eat my words if I'm wrong. I really thought Joe Tryon-Shoyinka was very good in the first half today. I'll have to watch the second half. I know the Rams, I noticed 4 or 5 plays in a row where they were chipping him heavy with a tight end, and that delays his get off. So that was, rookie in his first start. You get it. But I think that those are the guys probably, right? At this point, complete performances. And I, for the record, I don't know how much Jason Pierre-Paul would have helped today, because I don't know how much, he would have been, that Todd Bowles would have been willing to say, I'm going to play you inside a 3 technique, and we're going to get after the quarterback with 3 better rushers. Because right now, reality is Sue and Golston just aren't worth a whole lot as rushers. McClendon and Nacho never have been. And so you have a weak spot, basically, if
John,
you're running things right.
What we saw today was Bowles on at least 2 plays that I saw, and probably more. But when I was looking at the formation at the pre-snap, there were a couple plays where Joe Tryon-Shoyinka was playing inside, and they had Levante David line up on the line of scrimmage as an outside linebacker in some of those rush packages. So typically what we would see, is Jason Pierre-Paul in that role inside, but instead it was Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, and you typically have JTS on the outside with JPP on the inside. But because JTS was on the inside, you had Levante David rushing there. So you're talking about moving some pieces around that aren't used to playing. JTS is not used to playing inside. Levante David is a great blitzer, but he's not a guy that has had much experience as a stand-up rusher going up against a left tackle who knows he's coming.
Right. It gets to the territory, I think, where it becomes, how much do we want to see a larger sample size before we say, so-and-so or whatever has played poorly or not. But I definitely think they need more from Shaq Barrett still. I think that just the other defensive back spots, they need more from Antoine Winfield. Not that he's played poorly, he hasn't, but they need more from him. And I think Devin White is the biggest guy to me. You got to have more from Devin White. That's a top 5 pick linebacker. Guys are saying you're the best linebacker in the league. Have some pride about it, and you've got to play a lot better. I think and he just hasn't. I know he's probably frustrated that he doesn't have a sack yet this season, and that that he is not necessarily getting to shine in the run game as much because teams aren't running the ball that much against them. And but you got to overcome those things and be better in the situations that are presented to you. And just he has not done that so far this season. So right now he's a pretty big question mark in my opinion. Architect 79, thank you for the $10 super chat. Very much appreciated. Very helpful to us as we produce all this YouTube content. He says the running scheme is so predictable and presents no opportunities for lanes or creases. Why don't they run out of spread sets or spread the defense with all the weapons and create space? I want to talk about this in a second, but first, I don't know if you realize this, Matt, but this man mentioned lanes, and I just was wondering if you'd like to talk about our friends over at Pin Chasers, where you can get on the bowling lanes and have a little fun over at pinchasers.net. Tell them about the great opportunities that are in front of people when they go to Pin Chasers.
Oh, absolutely. Pin Chasers, first of all, it's an awesome place to bring your friends, bring your family for a great night out. Anthony Perrone, the owner, he actually just asked a question for the Bucs Monday mailbag. So it was a good question. So, Scott, you should get to that for tomorrow's Monday mailbag. But he's a diehard Bucs fan. He has season tickets. He was at the first 2 home games of this season. But going to Pin Chasers is a great night out. They have literally weekly specials every single day of the week. I know Monday it's Pizza Bowl after 9 p.m. $11.99. You can go and I meant Tuesday. Tuesday's Pizza Bowl, $11.99 after 9 p.m. All you can eat pizza. Thursday night, all you can bowl, $11.99 after 9 p.m. You can bowl for the rest of the evening. Their 10-pin grill is awesome. ton of different food selections, and my personal favorite, you can have breakfast at any time. Doesn't matter if it's the afternoon, if it's at night. You can have breakfast whenever. That is big. That is key. Many different locations, as you see, Midtown Tampa, Zephyr Hills. There's one in Armenia, right down the road from where the Bucs practice facility is. And also, coming back on October 11th, I can't wait. It's the Pewter Report Bowling League. So every Monday, 6:30 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
Be there. Fun time. We got a lot of people signing up now. We're doing, I know the first night we're doing a raffle and a giveaway, so make sure you're there for that. And it's just going to be an awesome time. You know, you get the friends out, you get the family out. Obviously, we're getting through this pandemic, and things are mostly back to normal now, too. So get out there, be at the lanes, and just enjoy yourself for what's a very fun evening.
Yeah, I'm definitely very excited for that. I know a lot of people are. Architect, to get back to your question, yeah, I have said I've been an advocate for this for a while, that the Bucs need to run out of more spread formations to define space a little bit easier for the running backs, because their vision, especially Leonard Fournette's, is so bad. You can help him by basically giving him an easier time seeing things. Ronald Jones' vision actually has been okay, but last week kind of melted down on him, and so I don't know where things are going with Ronald Jones, if the arrow may be pointing down with Ronald at this point. But, yeah, I agree with you completely. They need to run out of more spread looks, stop bringing Chris Godwin into block, stop bringing other tight ends into block that can't block, start using angles to your advantage a little bit more in run blocking. But still, Leonard Fournette, man, like, you cannot approach the line of scrimmage the way that man does. Like, it is just absurd. Like, he is.
He's doing that too much, man. It's crazy.
It's true, and it's got to stop. It really does. He is just way too physically. There's just too much going on there to play football the way that he plays football. So
the most frustrating
good question.
thing.
Yeah, good question by Architect. All right, let's get JC. You're in the chat here. You are in the show. Welcome to the show. First of all, second of all, this Bucs defense, it's getting to the problem territory now. It's 3 games where they've been really pretty gashed up and handled pretty brutally by the other team, and there's not been much resistance from Todd Bowles' unit. This one, obviously, players, coaches can probably wear some responsibility, but it's trouble time for the Bucs defense right now. Not a whole lot of players playing well right now.
No, and you can't put a little bit blame schematically as well, but it's just not there, especially the secondary banged up. You can't make excuses because every team gets injured. Next man up mentality, but yeah, I mean, they're just being gashed through the air. 63 offensive plays today were ran, and they were just manhandled. After that first quarter, where it was just a battle of punts, the Rams would go on and, score 4 straight touchdowns with 320 yards. You can't do that. So, I mean, I don't know the quick fix is there. I know a lot of people are saying bring Richard Sherman in, trade for Stephon Gilmore, who can't play till week 7 anyways, even if he is healthy. But I'm not sure there's a quick fix. A lot of it's mental mistakes as well. A lot of it's penalties, costly penalties. And you think those are, you would expect those are things that you can correct with coaching and watching film. But those 2 things existed in the first 2 games. And here they are rearing their ugly head again in this game. So I'm not really sure what the scenario is going to be. I heard you talking about Winfield. What could his ceiling be? I think he could play a lot better. Carlton Davis has played really well. Levante David played really well. Vita Vea, while they put extra attention on him today, still pushed the pocket back a little bit. That rush is really concerning right now. It's really concerning when you have a guy like Shaq Barrett, who you just paid all this money to. And I know you're missing JPP, and Joe Tryon-Shoyinka looked pretty good until the Rams started figuring him out, starting to chip him with the tight ends and such.
Yeah.
But it's got to get home, and it's not. When William Golston is getting your only sack in a game, love Golston. He's a lunch pail player, but that's not a good sign.
Yeah, it's not. And I think Shaq Barrett especially, the reality with Shaq Barrett is I don't think that he's playing like worse than he did last year at this time at all. Like, I just think he's a good, not great player. Like, that's what he is. And those guys to still get paid, that's still how it works. I'm not saying that it's a mistake to pay him, but that's the same thing when we paid him. He's not an elite player, in my opinion. There's only a few guys that are. I think if you watch the top passers in the NFL, he clearly is not those guys. He's never been those guys. Even when he had 19.5 sacks, he wasn't those guys. You could see that if you watch the tape of all of them and compared them. It wasn't hard to see. He's not a guy that's going to get those type of numbers every year. But he's better than this. He's better than he was today for sure. And so he's got to be more impactful, no question. I also think that Bulls blitzes haven't really worked. Like I'm far from a blitz expert, but like this is a guy that's blitzed a ton. And last year it was like the main reason why they piled up sacks early on. And this year it's just like everybody knows exactly what to do against him. And he's getting solved pretty quick so far.
I think one of the biggest concerns too, I remember specifically on this blitz, Devin White went up the A gap, and I think we all love watching Devin White blitz right up the middle. It's usually quite successful, but Sony Michel was in there, picked it right up, and handled it like it was nothing. You know, if these blitzes aren't working for the Bucs defense, they're not getting home with just using 4. So that's quite the predicament if they can't really figure that out.
Yeah, it really is. Let's get to some game balls here as we get rolling here on the wrap-up portion of this. And we'll let you guys kind of give yours as we get going on here. There we go. We got game balls presented by Manscaped. Your balls will thank you. All right, let's go first to JC. Let's get your thoughts here, JC. Offensive game ball, defensive game ball. If you have I don't think there's a special teams one to give out in this one.
No.
Jalen Darden didn't screw anything up. He almost screwed up a punt. He almost dropped one. But offense, defense, game balls, what do you got?
I mean, it's hard to do this in a loss because there was a lot of flawed play.
Give your who are you taking a game ball away from?
Who am I going to take? I'm going to give a game ball. I'm going to give a defensive game ball. I'm going to give it to Joe Tryon-Shoyinka because I feel like in the earlier part of the game, before the Rams kind of try to take him out of it, you could see he was flying all over the place, had a pass deflection, had a tackle for loss, QB hit. He did look pretty good out there getting the start. I expected to see a little bit more out of him, but I think he played well enough out of anyone on defense to get the game ball. And on offense, I'm going to go my 3rd week in a row. I mean, how can you not? TB12. There's really not many people to give it to on offense. And, the numbers he put up today, over 400 passing yards, 1 touchdown through the air, 1 touchdown on the ground. Faces a big challenge next week against 2 guys who know him inside and out. Josh McDaniels, he said, is one of his best friends, and now he's got to go up against him. So it's going to be a difficult challenge. 68 yards for that Drew Brees record all-time passing yards. So
that all he needs, 68.
Yeah, so it's
wow.
You think he'll get
catches a couple of those balls from Brady today? He probably would have had it in this game.
Oh,
That's crazy.
So it's
it's tough. I actually kind of I kind of disagree with you on offense. I think there's a lot of really good performances offensively. Mike Evans, low-key, had a really good game, and I know it wasn't, as we kind of expected, it wasn't him against Jalen Ramsey, but I thought he played really well. Godwin made some really tough catches. Tyler Johnson showed up big time. I thought Tristan Wirfs was great. Handling Aaron Donald all game is really tough. We'll have to go back, look at the tape of some of the interior guys and see how it did. He played on the edge a lot, and so there was a lot of tough assignments there. But so that was kind of my observation. But anyway, I agree with you on offense and defense. I think Joe Tryon-Shoyinka, people will go back and look at this and be like, oh, he actually had some really good wins early on. Then the Rams adjusted and kind of did some different things. When you're a rookie, making people adjust a little bit of what they do protection-wise, it's a pretty good sign. Matt, who do you have for your Manscaped game balls?
Yeah, so offensively, I'm giving the game ball to Chris Godwin. I thought he made an impact when the game still mattered, made some crucial 3rd down receptions. And I'll always say, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, and I said this in Most Impressive, which is coming out if you haven't read it yet. He's the most consistent receiver that the Bucs have. Got over 70 yards again today. He was 2nd on the team in receptions. Had a rushing touchdown, so it shows how.
Yeah, you going to shout out your touchdown?
Well, yeah. So I'm a little biased. I also said he was going to score a touchdown. He did. Plus 100 value. There you go. Rated my stuff because it keeps hitting, at least for the last 2 weeks.
How many did you get right today? Scotty didn't do anything. Scotty hurt.
I went 3 for 2. I got the over, Godwin's touchdown, and Leonard Fournette. No, 3 for 2. Oh, 3 out of 5.
Gotcha. Yeah, okay, I got you.
Yeah. All right. So anyway, you would have walked away with money. But regardless, I thought, just another great game, consistent for him. He's the most consistent player on this offense, and scored a touchdown, so he was important. Defensively,
by the way, real quick before you jump to defense, needed Antonio Brown, and it showed. Disagree, maybe.
I disagree with that too.
maybe some of the screenplays. There'll be games where you need them. Wouldn't have been surprised if this was a game where you needed them. Didn't think that was an issue. People were open all day. The few times they didn't complete a pass today were really, I thought, there were a couple to Gronk that he should have probably caught. Yeah. There weren't many like plays where I was like, wow, they're just not getting open. Dudes were open a lot. He says, threw for how many freaking yards? 432 yards. And he had still had like 330 yards when this game was in reach. So, that wasn't garbage. Like, I thought, in terms of the passing attack, I didn't think they missed anybody. Whole season, I'm sure we'll see times where that would happen with AB, but he should be back for the next game. Go ahead, carry on. Back to the defense.
Yeah, so defensively, I believe I gave him a game ball in the first game of the season as well. But I'm going with Vita Vea again. I really thought the way he can just disrupt things and manhandle blockers that are trying to stop him from doing what he needs to do. It's just really fun watching that. He had a huge stop on a second and short. I believe it was the last play of the third quarter, where he was right up in the backfield. He didn't finish the play, but because he was already there, it let Shaq Barrett, Ross Cockrell, and JTS all finish the rest of the play. But he was a huge disruptor there. And then right before that or right after that, obviously the Rams went to Deshaun Jackson a lot in this game, and it finally paid off with that 75-yard touchdown. But there was one play where Stafford was going deep to him, and he was wide open. But Vita Vea got in on the pass rush, clearly altered the throw where it was short. It would have been a touchdown. And, the Rams went on to score a touchdown on that same drive, so maybe it was a moot point. But if it wasn't for Vita Vea, he single-handedly stopped the touchdown on that play. I thought that was very crucial. It may not have really meant much at the end of it because they still ended up scoring. But, Vita Vea causes a lot of issues for the opposing offenses, and I thought he made a stamp on this game as well.
Yeah, he could literally be called on holding almost every play.
Yeah, so
he's a force to stop. I don't think anyone was really missed on the offense. I know AB or what. I think that even on the defense, I don't think anyone was missed. I think if they would have played a little tighter schematically, I think they could have easily won this game. There are so many times where they shot themselves in the foot where they just let the game get out of hand. But I'm worried, obviously, a little bit about this defense going forward, but not to the point where I'm like, burn it down and like, who's available, start trading for everybody. Because I think they're just making so many mental mistakes and things that they are uncharacteristic of them. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'm definitely worried about their defense to a degree, but I was worried about the defense basically since they started playing this year, to be honest. So that just kind of remains for me. I agree with you though, JC. I don't think this was a loss where Rand really missed this player. Oh, if they were healthy, the Rams are better right now. Like people might not want to hear that. That might make people mad. They're better right now. It's also week 3. Doesn't mean they'll be better when it actually counts in the postseason and all those times. And there's still a long path to getting there. And there's a lot of season to go. Last year, the Bucs were clearly not the best team in the league. In week 3, they weren't even in the conversation in week 3. But now they're clearly by the end of the season that they were, and they're in that conversation right now. And today's result didn't change that for me, but yeah, no question in my mind. I felt like this was just the Rams were better. They're crisper, they're cleaner, they're better execution right now. You can say what you want about the fact that it's only been a couple games with Stafford, but clearly those guys are pretty comfortable. AC, appreciate y'all's insights. Great stuff from you guys.
I was going to say,
appreciate you jumping in.
They were definitely looking past this Rams team to the Patriots. That's all. That's all.
No, that is absolutely 100% no. I don't even understand how we get onto that. But in the NFL, Scott, like that doesn't happen. Like I can't emphasize that enough. It just doesn't happen. Like you know how much time and energy and attention go into each opponent. Yeah, that I know JC's kidding there, but that's that I know is something the fans will probably say. So I'm glad we threw it out there to get it dismissed.
I just think that the Rams' talent was just better today. I think
they're better.
I just think today they were the better team, and it showed in the trenches. Bucs couldn't run the ball. They couldn't get after Matt Stafford. I thought Tom Brady played really, really well. I thought he was the star of the show today. He's not going to get my game ball though because he's obvious. I'm going to go with the less obvious choice. I'm not knocking.
Well, before
Brady,
you do go with that less obvious choice, I got to talk about my friends over at Dave and Buster's here, because what a night. Matt Matera was out there on Friday, taking in some college football games, getting some amazing food, playing some great games. People are probably familiar with Dave and Buster's, but there's so much to do. There's so much fun to be at, and the food. Look at the food. I mean, Matt was talking on the pregame show about how unbelievable the food was there. Yeah, and there's so many screens and so many huge, massive screens. If you followed Pewter Report on Instagram, you've seen a lot of those videos, but he was at the Tampa location, Estuary Lakes Drive, and just absolutely loved it. And guess what? You can go to Dave & Buster's with a $200 gift card. All you have to do is literally go to the YouTube description in this podcast. I have an Instagram link in the YouTube description on this show, and you will see a link. Click that link. Follow 3 easy steps. All you have to do is like the post, follow Pewter Report and Dave & Buster's on Instagram, and then tag 2 friends in the comments of the post. That's all you have to do.
That's easy.
Go do that, and you enter a chance to win $200 gift card to Dave & Buster's for literally no effort. And so go click that link, get in there, apply for that, and you could be selected to win that $200 for Dave & Buster's. Awesome stuff, and an awesome promotion and giveaway from them for their fall football campaign.
John,
great place to watch some college ball this weekend.
It's a fantastic place to go to for next Sunday's game, because it's a Sunday night game. So get there early, play some games, have some food, then stay and watch the game. It's a fantastic place. They get NFL on all day long on Sundays, and you can go there and play and watch. That's the cool thing about Dave & Buster's. It's not just a sports bar where you can only watch. You can actually play the games too, which is really fun.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So it's great stuff. All right, Manscaped game balls. Here we go, Scott. You and I are giving our game balls here, but before we do, we got to talk about the Manscaped 4.0. This thing is an absolute game changer. Your balls will thank you if you get this. 2 million men worldwide trust Manscaped. So join the movement with our exclusive offer by using that promo code Pewter, PEWTER, on manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping. The world is opening back up, and Performance Package 4.0 from Manscaped is here to help you get ready. Inside this Performance Package 4.0, which I know we have many advocates and many Manscapers in the chat. Many of you are new to the manscaping world, and we congratulate you. We thank you for joining the cause. In this perfect package, you will receive the Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer, the Weed Whacker. Look at that thing. Look at the LED light on that thing. Unbelievable.
It's very important to see what you're doing, John, especially with your balls.
To see what you're, you got to see what you're doing. It's waterproof. There's a travel lock on it. Exceptional stuff. Then you've got the Weed Whacker ear and nose hair trimmer. Game-changing little gadget there. Crop Preserver ball deodorant, the Crop Reviver toner, plus 2 free gifts. The Performance boxer briefs, which are the most comfortable thing in the world. I'm wearing them actually right now. And the Shed travel bag, which is a very fancy little bag from Manscaped. This is literally it's a game-changing package here for your package from Manscaped to make sure your crotch doesn't look like Troy Polamalu's hair. Buy the Lawnmower 4.0 and get all this stuff, man. 20% off plus free shipping with the code Pewter, PEWTER. Pewter 20. I'm sorry.
Yep,
I'm so used to it being Pewter. Pewter 20. PEWTER 20 at manscaped.com. Get yourself this Performance Package 4.0. Get it for somebody else. Ask for it for a gift. Send people this promo code. Join the manscaping movement, sweeping the nation, starting with pewterreport.com. All right, John, Scott, game balls.
Hold on. It's almost October, right? It's almost October, so we're just about a month and a half away from the holiday shopping season. So do some holiday shopping now. Don't wait. Take advantage of this promotion and have something ready to go as a holiday gift for the guy in your life, whether it's dad, whether it's your brother, whether it's your uncle, whether it's yourself, right? Give the wife a hint, give the girlfriend a hint and say, hey, this is what I want for Christmas or for the holidays. Yeah. And I'm going to give you a free gift if you take advantage of this Manscaped Pewter 20 offer. You already get it. I'm in the gift-giving season. I mean, the Bucs lost. I'm going to do something great for the viewers out there and the listeners. We got Pewter Report T-shirts back in stock, folks. We got the white kind. We got the black kind. We've got the snazzy looking gray pewter kind, which really pops, which I like. And they're free. Free shirts for you. All you have to do is make an order at manscaped.com. Email me your proof of purchase at sr@pewterreport.com. Easy email. I know. SR, that's me, at pewterreport.com. Email that to me with what color you want, black, white, or gray, pewter. and then what size, and I'll send it to you free. That's free shipping on the shirt and a free shirt, so you can't go wrong. I need the proof of purchase because it has your address on it, which is I need to send you the shirt. Good news is there's no financial information. I don't need that. So send me that email at srpewterreport.com with your proof of purchase, and we will send you a free pewterreport.com shirt.
Appreciate that, Brian. Hit that like button if you agree. The Pewter Report nailed it again today. Fun day on the broadcast. Lots to break down, lots to analyze, obviously. Appreciate you guys all being with us.
Love you too. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Somebody said you guys probably already talked about it, but Devin White might be the worst Buck.
He's not playing too well.
We talked about it with Devin White. Yeah, it's not great right now. All right, Scott, your game balls. Who do you got?
Okay, my game balls. Listen, I am not knocking Tom Brady or his brilliance today. I thought he was really good throwing the ball over 400 yards, a touchdown rushing, a touchdown through the air. But I really got to give it to Giovanni Bernard. I don't do that nearly as well as Stephen Shea does, but I'm going to give it to him just because I like what Bernard did, and I hope that he made enough of an impression. First of all, I hope he's healthy. He took a shot to the knee, shin area.
And Arians did say after the game that he thinks he's fine. We'll see if it swells up on the plane, he said, but he thinks he should be fine.
Yeah, I don't know if I trust Bruce Arians when it comes to running backs, John. Whether there's information.
Or injuries or information. Yeah, good point.
He thought Ronald Jones ran the ball well. Ronald Jones finished with 11 yards on 5 carries. That's not well. Sorry, that's not good in any way, shape, or form, Bruce. I'll beg to differ with you on that. So I hope that his analysis about Gio's injury is good. But what I did like out of Giovanni Bernard is I like the fact that this guy ended up catching 9 passes, targeted 10 times, for 51 yards and a touchdown, including a 32-yard catch and run that I believe was on a 2nd and 20 situation when the Bucs got backed up on a screen pass. He showed more burst and acceleration that I've seen from either Ronald Jones or Leonard Fournette, the ability to create the space. So I like that. I like to see him get some carries too, because I think he can be effective. I'm also going to give a shout out, maybe not a game ball, but a shout out to Tyler Johnson. Stepped up in the second half, 3 catches, 63 yards. Scotty Miller, 2 catches, 11 yards. He is like the forgotten man in the offense this year, and maybe that's for a reason. Tyler Johnson's really just been outperforming him. So my game ball on offense goes to Gio. On defense, I'm going to give it to Will Golston. He didn't get many sacks, but he got one today, okay?
That's right.
He got one today. And what I like about Will Golston is he usually gets about 2 sacks per year. He's already got 1. He's halfway home right now with 14 more games to go. So you go, Will. You pile up those sack statistics. I'm a big defensive guy, John. Games like this really, really hurt my heart. I love the D-line. You know that. And I'm just sick to my stomach that through 3 games, this team has 3 sacks because they're way better than this. And I think you're right, John. They're figuring out Todd Bowles' blitz scheme. We haven't seen many new wrinkles. And any new wrinkles we've seen haven't really worked. So I think they need to go back to the lab and create some schemes that maybe opponents haven't figured out yet. But also to these players, Shaq Barrett, Vita Vea, and Ndamukong Suh, they got to win their one-on-ones. That's not happening. But I'm going to give it to Will because he won a one-on-one today and had a sack.
Maybe I'll regret this after reviewing the tape, but I am, as hard as it is defensively, and shout out Joe Tryon-Shoyinka for a really good first half. I think Levante David played really well. I really kind of want to give it to Carlton Davis because I feel like he's just kind of like flat, like on his own, just on this island, just the rest of his crew getting shelled. I know he'd give up a touchdown to Cooper Kupp. I thought he played poorly on that play, but Devin White, I mean, literally picked him off the route the play before. It's just, I think he's on the sideline. He's very frustrated. It's clear. He doesn't get to press very often. I thought when he got to press Kupp a couple times, he absolutely smothered him. I just think he's playing really well. I don't even think the scheme helps him that much, to be honest. I think he's put in some tough situations. He is keeping this group like barely above water. Maybe they weren't above water today, but he's I just want to shout him out because, he's really, I think that he's really the only guy that I feel like is really, I mean, obviously in games before this, Edwards, but I felt like in this game, he was the only guy I was really like, I think that, not that he was perfect, but I think he was pretty good today on a day where most of the defense was not. Offensively, I think Brady is having one of those seasons that's special. I really do. So very encouraged by him, encouraged by the scheme and the answers that they have against a tough defense. If execution had been a little cleaner today and defense had been just acceptable, I think this is a very winnable game for the Bucs. They are one of those teams that I believe is right there at the top. I said this beginning of the season. I don't feel any differently about it. I think there's 3 teams in the NFC that could win that conference. I think there's 3 teams in the AFC that could win that conference, and I think the Bucs and the Rams are 2 of those teams in the NFC. And so I absolutely think that I still believe that for sure. The defensively, they have a lot to figure out, but I don't have concerns right now with the offense. I think other than the running back situation, which is low down, I think, on the list of most important aspects of an offense. So. Yeah, John, but Brady, the way he's playing and how he's moving, Scott, ducking out of a couple sacks.
Oh, yeah. Hey, that D looks great, doesn't it?
Some of those tight window throws, he was zipping the ball in the zones. I think he looks exceptional this season. It's better than even last year, not even just because of the knowledge, just literally throwing and moving better, I think.
I agree. Unfortunately, folks, there's not going to be a Victory Monday podcast tomorrow, but there is going to be a Monday podcast tomorrow. It's just not going to be a Victory Monday. For 2 reasons. Number one, unfortunately, the Rams moved to 40-0 when leading at the half under Sean McVay. That's an incredible statistic. And unfortunately for the Buccaneers, their 10-game winning streak, their 8-game road winning streak, and their streak of 9 consecutive games scoring 30 points or more, all of those come to an end. But this is not the end. This is just the beginning because it's Sunday. It's the beginning of the week. We got another big week of football ahead of us. Bucs Patriots, Sunday Night Football. John, we're going to kick off the coverage starting tomorrow with a non-Victory Monday podcast at 4 o'clock.
Right. Lots to analyze, lots to break down at 4. We'll be here. But is a Chiefs fan in the chat right now? Like a Chiefs fan talking, they're 1-2. How is that possible, buddy?
John, dating back to last year, the Chiefs are 1-3, are they not?
How do you come in on a Sunday when you just got worked by the Chargers?
By a divisional foe, right? Yeah.
Goodness gracious. And by the way, that blows my mind. You got to be completely oblivious to reality. Yeah. But anyway, no, I think that, the week of coverage against the Patriots will start on Monday. That's going to be fun, a 4 p.m. Podcast, and then we'll be back Wednesday and Thursday. We'll have shows as well. Going to be a lot leading up to that, and then we'll be out at Whiskey Wings actually for the pregame show for this one. So again, head out to Whiskey Wings, Temple Terrace location. Be out this away game. So I want to see the Pewter Report crew out in style for this one. We'll have the pregame show going live from Whiskey Wings. We'll release times and details and all that stuff on this, but the food out there is unbelievable. They've got great specials, great opportunities to do all that kind of stuff, eat and play games. And there's outdoor bar, indoor. You can sit, watch games on tons of screens. It's just an awesome location to watch the game. So check it out at Whiskey Wings Sports Bar and Grill in Temple Terrace. That'll be next week on the show on Sunday's show before the night game. It's going to be, we got a little primetime action, and we'll of course have the live in-game stream after the pregame show. And we'll also have the post-game stream as well as we get that thing up and rolling and break down the game after it ends as Brady chases that yardage total record, but more importantly, trying to get the Bucs to 3-1 and back on the winning track. So it's going to be fun stuff. We're looking forward to it, Scott. Tomorrow at 4 p.m. we'll be back on the podcast. Until then, let's do it, baby. Thanks so much for listening to another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Out.